everybody, and welcome into Gamecock Central Radio. Emerson Phillips, joined by Gamecock Central staff writer Collyn Taylor. Gamecocks getting ready for a Thursday, Friday, Saturday series with the Tennessee Volunteers this weekend at Founders Park. Collyn, the Gamecocks snapped a 5-game losing streak on Tuesday night. They beat Davidson 5-4, also at Founders Park, and Carolina hit a couple of home runs, Hunter Taylor and Justin Rowe, with long balls in the middle innings to give the Gamecocks a 5-2 lead, and then Davidson scored a couple runs in the 8th, but the Gamecocks held on to win 5-4 and snap that 5-game losing streak. And after the game, Mark Kingston said that it was Logan Chapman's best outing of the year.
Yeah, and they played pretty well from an offensive standpoint. I think they would have liked to score obviously some more runs. But they pitched well for throwing guys. For all 5 pitchers they threw were either freshmen or junior college transfers. So a lot of young talent that they showcased, and overall I think it was a good win against the team that went to the Super Regional last year.
Collyn, I talked earlier this week here on GCR with Kip Balknight. We talked about injuries, compounding problems for the Gamecocks. The 5-game losing streak was one thing, but the couple that with the fact that Carolina was short, several key players last weekend, particularly Sunday in that Georgia series. It made things difficult for South Carolina. So we believe Adam Hill is going to be back for this Thursday night game against Tennessee. Give us an update on him and talk about T.J. Hopkins and Madison Stokes.
Yeah, so all signs right now are pointing to Adam Hill starting Thursday night. It's obviously still TBD officially, or to be announced officially. But Kingston said that they're cautiously optimistic, and the way that it was explained to me was that he just kind of needed some rest on his arm. And then obviously T.J. Hopkins, Kingston said, will be out about 2 to 3 weeks with a hand/wrist injury. And Madison Stokes and Noah Campbell are both out for this weekend series. Noah Campbell broke his finger, a minor finger break, and then Madison Stokes just kind of tweaked his hamstring. So they'll both be reevaluated once this weekend's over, more likely.
These are key players at the top of the Gamecocks lineup. Collyn, Noah Campbell's had a fantastic year, and Madison Stokes, maybe the best year at the plate this year of any Gamecock.
Yeah, and it's tough, and I think even looking back at that Georgia series, you can argue if they had Adam Hill starting on Friday night, they probably win that game. And if they have T.J. Hopkins, things might go differently, and if they have Madison Stokes on Sunday, things can go differently. But you can always have those what-ifs in the season. Last year was a lot of what-ifs, but I think moving forward they're kind of figuring out what this team's going to be without them. And Justin Rose stepped up, Riley Hogan stepped up on Tuesday night. And they're going to have a couple different guys like Kyle Jacobson and maybe a Danny Blair come in and play some significant innings in the outfield as well.
Collyn, let's talk about Tennessee a little bit. The Volunteers come in 17-9. They're 4-2 in the SEC. They hit 4 home runs and a lopsided win over Western Carolina earlier this week. And Vols playing pretty good baseball at 4-2 in the league. They dropped 2 out of 3 to Ole Miss, but they swept Alabama in the second weekend of the SEC schedule. So Tennessee coming in 4-2 in the league, and the Gamecocks struggling right now at 1-5. So the Gamecocks with a chance to close some ground on Tennessee and some other teams in the SEC standings. Gamecocks got to get it in gear here, Collyn.
Yeah, and Tennessee's historically been over the last couple of years one of the most talent-deficient teams. They've struggled at times to string together a lot of wins in the season. A couple of coaching changes don't help with that. They have a new coach, obviously, this year. But this is a series I think that's I would say a must-win for South Carolina, just because you really don't have an easy schedule coming up. You travel to Kentucky, which is a top 10 team. You travel to Arkansas, which is a top 10 team, and playing really good baseball. And the schedule does not get easier. So this is a series you really have to take advantage of the fact that on paper you have more talent than Tennessee, and you really got to try to put it all together to get their first SEC series win in about a year.
Yeah, that's right. The Gamecocks dropped 8 consecutive SEC series to close out last year, and they've dropped the first 2 this year. So that's 10 series in a row going back to last season that the Gamecocks have lost. Hard to believe. Collyn, let's talk about the weekend here with Tennessee. It looks like like you said, all signs pointing to Adam Hill pitching on Thursday night. Cody Morris would go on Friday this week, 7 o'clock start Thursday, 7:30 Friday, and 2 o'clock Saturday. So who are the Gamecocks looking at to pitch Saturday's third game of the series? And we got the spring football game coming up on Saturday as well, Collyn. So Gamecock fans will have a couple of options on Saturday.
Right, and it's actually nice. It backs up kind of pretty well. Spring game should be over by 2. Can make it on over probably for the start of the third, fourth inning at Founders Park on Saturday afternoon. And then, as far as the Saturday or Sunday guy, when things kind of get back to normal, Rich Chapman's kind of separated himself and has embraced that role. He's changed his arm slot a little bit to kind of be more efficient and throw more strikes. That's something he's working on. But for right now, he's the Sunday starter moving forward. And I think that's kind of a guy that can settle things down at the back of the bullpen, or back of the rotation, I should say, if he's throwing strikes and doing what he needs to do to get out.
Collyn, I was thinking about Rich Chapman before we started the podcast today, and it's interesting that Florida only got 4 hits in the game that he started 2 weekends ago, but won the game 3-2. And last weekend, Georgia only had 3 hits, but beat the Gamecocks 3-0. So Rich Chapman, in the games that he started, opposing teams just haven't gotten a lot going at the plate.
Yeah, and he's been able to kind of pitch out of some jams a little bit. His problem is losing batters in terms of walks or giving up big extra base hits. And I think if he settles that down, he'll help it. But for the most part, he's getting outs, and his problem has been there hasn't been a whole lot of run support when he's pitched. You look at the last couple, his last 2 starts, South Carolina scored 2 runs and then was shut out.
Yep.
So it's about getting the offense going when he pitches, as well as getting the offense going with Adam Hill's on the mound and Cody Morris's too.
Gamecock baseball report here. Emerson Phillips with staff writer Collyn Taylor. Collyn, the bullpen appears to be very much a work in progress. Davidson scored a couple runs in the 8th inning to cut it to a 1-run game on Tuesday night this week. Carolina held on to win, but the bullpen still seems to be an area of concern.
Yeah, and they got guys that get outs, and I think it's a talented bullpen. It's just a matter of getting guys more experience and finding guys that can consistently throw strikes and can consistently do what they need to do to get out. So you have talent in Carmen Machinsky and Asia Marius and John Gilreath and Hunter Lomas and Parker Collyn and TJ Shook, who all can get out. But the problem is now making sure those guys, what you're going to get outing by outing, inning by inning, and finding the right roles to kind of have them be their most successful. But you saw Demarius come in, pitch well. TJ Shook pitched well. It's just a matter of kind of becoming more consistent and getting guys in the spots that they can do well in.
Gamecocks and the Tennessee Volunteers, Thursday, Friday, Saturday this week, 7 o'clock Thursday, 7:30 Friday, 2 p.m. Saturday. Collyn, double duty for you on Saturday with the spring game and Gamecock baseball also?
I think I'll just handle the spring game. We got someone else covering the baseball game, so it'll be the first baseball game that I missed this year, but we'll have plenty of coverage from it. But spring game, I'm excited to see what that football team looks like this year, too. So I'll be in the press box for Williams-Brice on Saturday.
All right, so Gamecock Central rolling out a ton of coverage this week, not only on Gamecock baseball, but on the spring game, obviously. So lots of content for our listeners and readers to check up on this week on Gamecock Central.
Yep, and it should be a lot of fun. Obviously, with the baseball series starting tonight, you get your coverage at the end of the week, and then throughout the weekend on that, and then everything going on from spring football to basketball recruiting to all the fun that goes along with this time of year.
All right, Collyn, thanks for your time today. We appreciate the report.
Hey, thanks for having me on.
That's Collyn Taylor. You can read Collyn's work on Gamecock Central. He'll cover the first 2 games of the Tennessee series for baseball this weekend and full coverage of the Garnet and Black spring game that will take place Saturday at noon at Williams-Brice. Stem to stern coverage here on Gamecock Central. And for Collyn Taylor, I'm Emerson Phillips. Thanks for being with us on Gamecock Central Radio.